Alright guys, I thought I'd do a bit of a video on my race car because I haven't done one in a while. So today we're going to look at the engine. So what we have here is YD25, so it's a 2.5 litre common rail Nissan diesel. Runs a Denso fuel system, and I've pretty extensively modified all the bolt-ons for this engine. So to get most of our power, we're running this tuning module here. It's German, it's a DTE module, and it's tuned by G-Turbo in Belcata. And what that does is it alters the rail pressure, the inject duration, and the injection timing. We also run a pretty big water to air intercooler. I'll explain a bit more about that in a minute. We have what's called a compound turbo setup. So this here is what's called a secondary turbo. It only provides about 12 to 15 pound of boost to the main primary turbo, which is down here. And what it does is it multiplies the pressure, and that's where we get our boost from. We've seen boost get up to 45, 48 psi under race conditions. Yeah, we've just got a stock filter at the moment down here. It's a little pod filter from K&N. Hopefully we'll be able to run some sort of airbox next year. Alright, this car doesn't have any emissions controls because that just clogs it up and slows it down. As you can see, we have a lot of sensors on it. Here, another one over there. That allows us to really tune the car pretty much to its limit and get the most out of the engine. This is our big water to air core. This is what cools the air down after it's been compressed from the turbo. And we actually see about, probably ambient plus 10, ambient plus 20 degrees going into the intake manifold. Down here you've got a map sensor. We're going to hook that up to the module, and hopefully we can get a bit more fuel in under higher boost. Right, we'll go down the back of the car now. So at the back here, this is our fuel pump. It's a lift pump. It's called an air dog. So it does about 4 things. It takes the air out of the diesel, it filters it, it removes water, and it obviously lifts the fuel from our fuel tank, which is here. This is just a stock 90 litre main tank out of a GQ Patrol. It just fit nicely in the back of the car. This blue thing here we've got a fuel cooler. So any excess fuel which isn't used by the injector pump gets pumped back to the tank. And because common rail's under really high pressure, we're talking 25,000 psi, we have to cool that fuel down through this. And that's just another way of how we get every little ounce out of this motor. Now this big radiator at the back here is for our water to air intercooler. So this is where the water comes after it's been through the core. It's cooled down and then gets pumped back. We're using a GU radiator, an aluminium one I just picked up off eBay. Some AU thermo fans. I've made up a shroud and some brackets. And then under here we have our water pump. The Davis Craig model, moves about 150 litres a minute. Got our exhaust here. I'll be changing that for next race because it looks like dog's balls. Yeah, that's just about it. Got both our boost controllers here. Run to tune the engine. We also run an oil accumulator, sort of like a poor man's dry sump. So our engine is always protected, it never runs out of oil. In the front here, not sure if you can see, but we have a power steering cooler here and an oil cooler here. So our engine oil is always within running temp. Yeah, that's about it. That's our motor.